So in one scene, he completely refuses to fight, essentially enduring torture, essentially out of defiance. And then the next scene, he's a willing gladiator. And in one scene, he completely rejects any kind of association with Rome. And then in the next scene, he goes on this mission to save Rome from the tyrants, right? So my problem is just there's a beginning and an end, but everything in between is missing on more than one occasion.
Yeah, but all of that is impacted by certain things that happen. So he ends up wanting to fight for Rome because
but you don't see him go through that journey, right? It skips the entire thing without any kind of plausible explanation of why he makes that choice. Like there's no scene where he has some kind of realization or is put into a situation where he has to choose between two things and he chooses Rome, for instance, right? And from that point on, he devotes himself to fixing Rome, right? Because that is what the final confrontation is about, right? Like him fighting Macrinus, right? The Denzel Washington character. That is just about preventing another bad guy from being on the throne, right? And trying to restore the Senate. That no longer has anything to do with personal revenge or anything like that. So, like, I'm just saying everything surrounding, like, this is supposed to have like pathos and personal drama, and kind of the fate of empires is reflected in the decisions of individuals. Like, it's supposed to work on that kind of level, and that part just simply doesn't work at all. There's also other, like, we focused a lot on Lucius, but there's also other stuff where they simply forget to tell the story. So, for instance, it's commonly said that Rome is basically on the brink of collapse, or is like in a bad shape, and basically it's barely functioning, and the games are just an expensive distraction that just makes the problem worse, because it just wastes more money on kind of creating the illusion that Rome is healthy, right? But we do not see Roman dysfunction. We see a couple of beggars in the streets, like on 2 occasions, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else that suggests that Rome is dysfunctional. Probably, like, Rome has always had beggars on the streets, right? So if you take that aside as a symptom, there's nothing to indicate that Rome is not functioning. Like, everything about this, everything about the emperors and about the senators and about the Colosseum and the crowds. The movie had 2 hours to convey to us that something is broken at the heart of Rome. We don't even see the emperors do anything that crazy, right? We don't really, like, they're not good leaders, right? They're not, like, they're clearly causing stagnation in Rome, but you don't really see them be all that erratic, right? Not until the very end. But while they're ruling, there were a lot more opportunities to convey the idea that them being in charge is a disaster, which it's supposed to. This is what it's supposed to be, and this movie tells us that that's what's happening, but they don't show it. So that's another example of the same principle, that a movie should be communicating these things to us through little details that up over the course of a movie, to show us that, like, people like Acacius have lost faith in the system, because this used to work for hundreds of years and now it doesn't, and now it's produced people like Geta and Caracalla. I'm just talking about very basic modes of storytelling here that this movie just neglects to use. And as a result, the whole thing does not add up to an engaging story.